the final episode of the speed sew for Yona. Now in this video, you'll see I'll make the bows for her little hair, for her little braids, and then I'll attach the bows to her hair. And then I do a slight skip wherein I attach the heads to the bodies, because attaching things to fur and working with fur is more involved. A lot of that stuff, I showed the main body, but a lot of like the little pieces I'm not going to end up showing, just because it's very involved and it's easier if I can get up close and personal and not worry about recording. So you also see that at the very end of the video, I don't attach the legs to her, but I show you what the leg will look like when finished. So that's pretty, that's pretty interesting to see how I do that process, but I don't attach the legs in the video just because of the same reason. It's a little more involved. And the same thing with her blanket that she wears on top of her. I don't attach that in this video just because, again, it's fur. It's easier to do it if I'm not on camera recording myself sewing. So those I'll do off camera, but when I do the plush breakdowns, you'll get to see what the completed plush looks like, which will be coming after this video. And in this one, you'll also see me working on her legs, as I mentioned before. With the legs, you'll see me do the hooves, and the way I do those is I attach, the gray for the toes, sew around the circle, and then I do a soft sculpt, the same thing you would do for like paws, but I do it just once in the middle to do the two distinct little toes that she has on each foot. I turn one inside out and I stitch it and everything to show you what that looks like, but I don't do that with the other 8, just because, it's the same thing over and over and over again. With, after a little bit, you'll see me working on her legs. Now with the legs, I do the pattern and then I end up drawing out the pattern on the fabric itself. When I do that, I'm using a metallic Sharpie. You can buy just the metallic Sharpies on their own. It works with the darker fabric, especially with the fur, because it won't show through the backing of the fur, especially if it's a darker color like that. So what I like to do with that, and on longer piles absolutely hide anything that you do on the back like that. So what I do is I'll draw it on there. I use the metallic ones because it's like back when I was a kid, we had gel pens and you would use gel pens on like the black paper. Same thing here, because of the way it's metallic, it shows up on the darker stuff, the way that normal Sharpies wouldn't show up on it. And yes, I do use Sharpies instead of like a fabric pen. It's just easier for me to get the Sharpies, and they work just as fine, and I like to coordinate colors so that way the colors won't show through. Whenever I cut them, I always cut them so that way the Sharpie part isn't showing, and I always stitch it so that way the Sharpie part won't even be able to show through the seam at all. It helps me. It's something that helps me, and it might help you too, but you might also want to do like the water soluble fabric pens, and that's totally fine. That's probably more professional, and this is just what I do for especially the fur. So with the fur, you'll see me do it for one but not for the others, because again, it's the same thing over and over and over again. So with that, I attach the tan square on the bottom, because the way that Yona looks, you can look up a picture of her on the thumbnail, she has like tan legs that show through the fur right at the bottom where her hoof is. And so the tan, it pooches out a little bit from the stuffing, and it looks like the little part of her leg there, and it's really cool. And the way that I do the fur, it kind of comes down a little bit, and when you lift it up, you can see that tan part more. So that way I feel it's more accurate to the show. That's something interesting. And like I said again, the parts that you don't see in the video, me attaching mostly the fur stuff, you'll be able to see when the plush is completed. Now, this particular Yona has a little bit of a history behind it. Not these plushies in particular, but the way that I'm doing it. So last year, I attended BronyCon. The year anniversary of that actually just happened. And I wasn't 100% sure what to make, but I ended up watching the entire show up to whatever was out at that point. I had seen most of it, but there's a lot of it that I had also skipped from the most recent season. But I went back through and I watched everything that I had missed and rewatched the entire thing from the beginning, so that way I could make a list of everything to make. And then I also had a separate list of things that I would like to make. I made the jelly pony from there's a random song in one of the episodes where they're saying about finding a boyfriend for their teacher. And there's this guy, and he's just in a tub of jelly. And so I ended up making a plush of him because I thought it was really funny. I got like a real mason jar, and then I put I made it so that it was like the pony head coming out, and then the lid on top with like the jelly coming off of it. It was really silly, and it like sold immediately because people thought it was really cute. It's something unique and different. So I had a list of the ones that I would like to make, the list of ones that I should make because I thought they would sell good. I tried to target some more of the plushies I didn't think other people would have. And when I was doing that, I made a lot of stuff, and then it came to the day before BronyCon, and I only had time to make one more plush. So I was trying to figure out, what should I make? What should I make for the last plush before BronyCon? Because I had the pieces and everything ready for Fluttershy, Sunburst, Saffron Masala, who is a pony that makes Indian food. She's from India, or whatever pony India is. And a bunch of mystery bag plush that I hadn't completely finished. I was bringing with me to do the table as needed. And I had gotten a commission for Kerfuffle, who was like brand new. There was like the short for her had literally just aired right before BronyCon. And I had made one for BronyCon, and someone saw it and really liked it and wanted me to make a huge one for him to carry around BronyCon. So I told him, I'd be able to deliver it by Friday, and so I worked on that on Thursday. I had like the body finished, but I brought all the stuff for like her hair there. So I was like, what should I finish? Should I finish the commission? And then that way I don't have to worry about that on Thursday. Should I work on Sunburst or something? But I really wanted to make a Yona. So even though I was like, maybe I should have more ponies or something, I really wanted to make the Yona. And I didn't think I would have enough time to finish her because she's very involved and, she's a big character. But I was determined to make her. I wanted to make her. So I ran to the store, and the only store near me is Hobby Lobby. It's 2 minutes away from my house. And it's unfortunately on the other side of town, so I was like, whatever, I'll just go to Hobby Lobby real quick, got some brown fur, and then sat down and got to work. And she flowed out. Sometimes as an artist, you'll have things that kind of give you art block, and it'll take a while to struggle through it. Happens every now and then. Sometimes you work on another project and come back, your art block will be gone. But with her, it's just nothing. My fingers were flying. I was composing my magnum opus or whatever. She came out so fast, so good. I was in love with what she looked like. And I took a bunch of pictures of her. Not the best, because I didn't have my light box at that point. Was just using natural light outside. But it was awesome, and she was a big attention getter. So I set her up at the table, and I was really glad that I decided to go ahead with her. Finished her in time, just in time. So we get to the con, and we weren't able to set up that night, so we set up the next day. And so I walked around, and we noticed the lines for everything and the amount of people, and we're like, oh. So my husband convinced me to up my prices. So I did, and I'm glad I did, because it ended up working out, and I didn't undersell myself for once, which I have a bad habit of doing. And so Yona we set at $500, and I was like, that way, usually some of my bigger pieces I'll set a little higher, which to me is usually $200. So that way I have a big attention getter all weekend long. So I had her set up, put the $500 price tag on her, not expecting her to sell it all. I don't know why. I was apparently the only one with the Yona plush too, which was insane. But I set her at that, and she was legit the first plush that sold of mine. And I was just blown away. And the person that bought her, super nice. I see him at some of the other pony cons that I've been to. And the person that he got her for, because he got her as a gift, cosplays as Yona. And she cosplayed at Yona at Ponyville Cider Fest in 2019, where the voice actress was. And the voice actress got to see her in her costume with a plushie. It was really cute. I have a picture of her costume and her holding the Yona plush, which I adore. And Yeah, it was like the first thing that sold, but he didn't want to like carry it around all day and get it dirty, which was understandable. So he let me keep it all weekend. So I just had a sold sign on it, and I still was able to have it as attention getter, which drew a lot of people in. Got orders for more Yonas that I completed and everything, and it was just like such a good thing that I had decided to make her, and I'm really glad that I did. So yeah, she was there all weekend long, and people were just coming like crazy to see her and everything. And then after the con, because he had to fly back and he didn't have room for her, I ended up sending her along in the mail to him. And it was really nice. It was just a really nice experience, and I'm really glad I made Yona. So I love making Yona. She's very involved, so she takes a lot of time. As you will see, I just split this up into 3 parts, mostly because I'm making 2 at the same time, but you know, you'll see in this video that she is very involved. She has like 2 or 4 of several different things, so it's just repetition. Not as bad as making a Galvantula. I've made 3 Galvantula, nothing recently, but in the past, and oh gosh, it's literally just repetition with that Pokemon. She's not as bad as that, but she can get a little repetitive, but I don't mind. I absolutely love making Yonas, and I would love to make even more Yonas in the future. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. I know I talked a little bit longer than I normally do in these speed sews, but I have such a history with Yona, and I wanted to go ahead and share that since I had the opportunity to in this final part 3. So, I hope you enjoy the speed sew, and I hope you'll enjoy the music. Take care, guys.